Hello, everyone. It's great to see you all. First of all, apologies for the slides. They've got slightly stretched due to the settings I've got at the minute. So if they're annoying you because they're slightly stretched, I think it's my IT that's done that. They did look beautiful before I shared my screen. So this is going to be such a great lunchtime event. We've got our guest speaker, Laura Taylor. And she's going to be talking about life audit and 2021 goal setting. So we all know that 2020 has become a four-letter word. So Laura is going to jibby us up and get us ready and fixed on 2021. So just to introduce myself, which I realised I didn't do up front, I'm Julia Wilson. It's my absolute privilege to be one of the science industry chapter leads for the Cambridge section of the Rising Network. And in my day job, I'm the associate director at the Wellcome Sanger Institute, which is based just outside of Cambridge. So today I'm going to, obviously I'm leading the introduction for a few 10 minutes or so, then I'm going to hand over to Laura Taylor, who's our special guest today. We're going to leave some time for Q&A at the end and then wrap up at 1, because I know most of you have probably got another Zoom or team meeting at 1. So today we've got quite a jam-packed agenda, and we're hoping to learn, how to set goals with strategies and goals that are realistic so we can actually meet them. We're going to review the highs and probably the many lows of 2020. But then importantly, put that in context, move on from 2020 and focus and actually look forward to 2021. And I'm really delighted. I'm hoping to learn how to focus my energy on the positives. And we've got obviously a little bit of housekeeping for these Zoom meetings. The online events are recorded, and that's because they're such a valuable resource and go onto the Rising Network website for later, so our colleagues that can't make it can also learn. The usual rules are phones on silent and muting during the online event, unless there's breakouts and questions and answers. As I mentioned, the question and answers will take place after the talk. So we found over the months that the best way to ask a question is to actually type it into the chat box, and the host and facilitators can read out the questions, or select the raise hand icon and wait to be spotted. But I do realise with quite a few people on the call, it's sometimes quite difficult to see everyone on one screen and raise a hand, but we'll do our best with the Q&A session. So chat box or raise hand. And then to give a little bit of a context to the Rising Network and the type of event that this is, the Rising Network, our purpose is to come together to use the power of this community to empower women to realise their true potential, and importantly to get a balance, to achieve a balance and happiness. And our vision, which I believe we're well on the way to being, is to be recognised as a global community that does empower women to become change makers, where we can all make a difference in our everyday lives, but also on the lives of others. Apologies, my cat has just jumped on me. And just a little bit about the Rising Network and Lily Cheng, our co-host today. And this will be a story that's so familiar to many of us on this call, that Lily was really searching for a network that could provide support. She wanted to learn from peers and to learn from others, but at the same time, not just focus on the professional life, but also to get that work-life balance and improve general well-being, which then helps you reconnect with your purpose, whether that's your work, it can be your work, but it's also and the other things that give you purpose in life. And that we can all upskill to achieve full potential. So in that, Lily then launched the Rising Network with a purpose to deliver all of this to empower women generally. And the network has some great events. The membership really works. We try and provide a very varied selection of activities and events, and that's different, and I would say different and more holistic than other things. They're about personalised learning, they're about building the networks in Cambridge, in London and internationally. They're to provide expert advice and mentorships, but importantly, the ultimate aim is to build self-confidence, to see your role models and to work with them, and ultimately improved well-being that will benefit us all in our work life, in our home life, and give us that resilience that we've needed to dig deep on during 2020. So we have an amazing group of advisors and chapter leads, and you can see some of the faces here. We've got chapters in London, in Cambridge, in the southwest of UK, in Germany and the USA, so that the network is growing from strength to strength. And it's a very inclusive and it's a very broad church network. So we would say, do reach out to any of us on the call or to Lily. Check out the Rising Network website, and do if you want to become a chapter lead or you've got something else to offer to the network, then please do. We'd love to have you along and involved. It's really important. It's I would say it's a very inclusive network, and we all gain something from being part of this. So while we've been forced into a virtual world over the last few months, we do have a whole range of formats where we can deliver these learning, these well-being for our network. So there's various formats that we use. We're hoping to get back to face-to-face events for networking and learning, but we've got various different flavors of learning that should suit all types of these lunchtime events of learning and networking, mentoring circles, masterclasses, workshops, and then a festival that happens once a year. That's a really empowering event as well. So do go to the website and check out in more detail the range of workshops and activities that are ongoing. You can also become a member of the website if you become a member of the Rising Network if you're not already. The full details are on the website, and you'll find the benefits there. But there's all of these events, learning, online sessions, courses. You can learn in your own time or as much as you want. Importantly, you can build a network, develop leadership skills, but access a huge, rich diversity from the peers within the network to access mentoring and support and learning tools and activities to help you achieve balance and well-being. But all in all, it's really fun, generally fun and supportive, and a real learning environment. And it's a very safe environment to be part of a network there of women like yourselves. You find your role models and your peers within this network. So because today's session is all about Laura Taylor, she's going to talk to us about the life audit and 2021 goal setting. Laura's a successful corporate chief financial officer, but she's also founder of Managing Myself, and she's going to be sharing her expertise with us this lunchtime. So welcome, Laura. We're delighted to have you here and to learn from you.
Welcome, everybody. We've got quite a few people on today, so it's great to see you all here. Great to see so many of you on live for today's session, and welcome to everybody who's also watching on the replay. Thank you so much. So the first thing to say is this is going to be a workshop rather than a webinar. So you're going to work through the exercises here in the session as far as we can. Now, we only got an hour and we've already used up 10 minutes of it, and I know we've got some wrapping up to do at the end, so we're going to have to canter through really quickly. So you may well find that you're going to need to come back to stuff tonight or at the weekend. So we're going to go through quite fast, but try and keep up. If you've got comments, please do pop them in the chat box, and I can see lots of you already interacting there, so which is really great. We've got Zoe from Swindon. I was going to say Laura from Cambridge. No, it's Emma from Cambridge. I'm also from Cambridge. I think probably Lily is also in Cambridge, so it's very much, the Rising Network kind of started off in Cambridge. We've got Sonia from Norfolk, we've got Nina from Dundee, we've got Claudia also in Cambridge, Sarah in Cambridge, Lily from Cambridge, Brooke is zooming in from Cambridge, Karina, and Nicola, lots of Cambridge people, Lucy from Cornwall, awesome. Keep it up. So what I want to do is we're going to go through the workbook. Hopefully you've all got the workbook, you've downloaded that, and it's an editable PDF. So I was very conscious that not everybody has a printer at home, so it's the first time I've done it, so hopefully it's going to work for you to actually save it and type in the PDF as you go. And there's a couple of pages at the back of that workbook which are for just more general note taking. So hopefully you can capture everything that you learned today in that workbook. That's the idea. If you don't have the workbook, don't worry. I'll give you the writing prompts as we go through. So as long as you've got some paper and a pen, then you're good to go. So obviously life has been crazy busy in 2020. I think life is busy every year, but 2020 in particular seems to have just absolutely flown by. And I think when life does get crazy busy, and particularly when we're having to cope with change and uncertainty and we're racing through our days, it's so easy to get caught up in the hustle and the bustle of every day. And so rarely do we take the time to just check in with ourselves and see if we're going in the right direction. It's a wonderful time. It's obviously December. We got to the end of the year before we get fully immersed in working out how we're going to navigate the Christmas season, who's in what bubbles and who we can see, who we can't see. And this is a great time to just pause and take a moment and reflect, to look how far you've come, to give yourself some credit and to celebrate the transformation that you've been through in 2020. So I think the solitude of 2020 has definitely given us a great opportunity for self-reflection and clarity, and clarity is ultimately power. And I hope that you're going to go away from today's session with a much better feeling of where you are in your life right now and how you'd like your life to develop next year. So we're going to cover the highs and lows and some of the lessons that we've learned through 2020. We're going to do a bit of what I call a life audit, which is really assessing where you are now in your life, where you'd like to get to. And we'll have a quick canter through why many people end up ultimately not achieving their goals. And we'll address some of those points so that we can set a few goals for 2021 and really get ourselves up and running for a running start in 2021 and all sorted for success. So if you're ready, let us dive in. So this is me. Just before we get into the details, this is me. I'm Laura. Obviously, Julia's given me a wonderful introduction. So I'm a part-time CFO, which is a finance director in layman's terms. I'm in Cambridge. I'm also a productivity and balance coach at Managing Myself. I'm a single mother to two wonderful small people who are my absolute everything. I'm a chronic list maker and drinker of tea, except I don't have a tea with me today, so it's most upsetting, but I didn't have time to make one before this. So hopefully I survived to the end without my cup of tea. But my passion in my career and my life has really been in designing systems and processes for myself to make life easier and more balanced. And I'm now sharing those strategies with other hardworking mums who I see struggling with organisation and productivity and time management and work-life balance every day. So this is me. So that's been my passion in my career. And I called the business Managing Myself because I want everyone to recognise that we each have the agency within us to take control of creating the life that we really want to lead. And it's not down to anybody else. We absolutely do have the power to live the life of your dreams. So let's dive into a bit of a review of 2020. So I suspect that many of you, if not all of you, a bit like me, are high achievers with very high expectations of yourself. And as high achievers, we spend a lot of time feeling disappointed. We notice where we fall short, we beat ourselves up, and it's in our nature to notice the things that went wrong rather than the things that went great. And my guess is that what with everything that 2020's thrown at us, you maybe didn't hit all of your goals this year. Maybe you didn't hit any of them. And in fact, I didn't hit any of my original goals that I set out in 2020. And that's okay. And as the year went by, actually, life changed and goals changed, and I have achieved stuff, just not necessarily what I originally set out to do. So it's really, really important to remember that there's always going to be things that you didn't factor in, because life just happens, right? Now, hopefully, cross fingers, it's not always going to be a global pandemic, but I can guarantee that pretty much every year something will happen in your world that knocks you off course and sends you off in a different direction. And that's okay, because we just roll with the punches, we're resilient, we alter our plans, and we go with the flow. And I'm sure that despite everything that 2020 has thrown at you, you've absolutely accomplished some amazing things this past year. So I want to be conscious that, as well as learning from our misses and the things that we didn't necessarily do, we want to celebrate every single win along the way, because that's one of the habits of the most successful people. So that's where we're going to start. We are going to have a look at, if you grab your workbooks, we're going to make a start with what are the three good things that happened in 2020 and how did they make you feel? So we're just going to spend a bit of time now just celebrating and recognizing the successes that we've had. It's such a powerful motivator because it reinforces the meaning behind all of our hard work, and it shows appreciation for our achievements. And when we celebrate our achievements and our successes, it boosts our self-esteem. And that really motivates us to take the next step towards achieving the next goal. So take some time now to just have a think about what the three things were. And if you'd be willing to share, pop them in the comments, or pop a couple in the comments. I'd love to see some of your highlight reel from the year. I think for me, one of the actual things that I've really appreciated about 2020 has been the time at home and the extra time with my little kiddie winkies. And I think naturally I am an introvert, so actually having that time for reflection has been, really, really useful for me, and has really actually helped me improve my relationship with my son, who is much more difficult as a child than my daughter is. So he's saying, new job, loads of reading, and found the rising network. Whoop whoop. Well done to you, Zoe. Emma has bought a house, had more time with your family, got more sleep. Oh, Emma, I think as we go through, you'll probably learn a little bit more about me, and I was going to reveal later on, but I will reveal now that one of my things that I want to focus on for 2021 is getting more sleep. So you're ahead of me. So that's absolutely awesome. I'm just going to move this over here, and then I can see all your lovely faces. Lily, I've spent less time travelling to and from work every day. Yeah, I've really, really enjoyed. I mean, I don't have a huge commute. I live in Cambridge and I work in Cambridge, but it just feels so awesome just not having that additional stress of getting out of the house and actually travelling. Nicola says, supporting our team as best as possible in a tough year to still achieve lots of things. Actually connecting and speaking more with wider family, even with lockdowns. Yes, definitely agree. Learning to bake. Awesome. What are you baking? Lots of people seem to be doing banana bread in lockdown one. Oh, Brooke, you got married. 3 cancellations. Oh no, but you finally got to grips with it and just went for it and took the plunge. Walked 2 miles, came 100% off prescription pain meds. That's absolutely awesome. Well done to you. But what you did to do that, what did you change in your life to come off the pain meds? Sonia, moving and setting up new life, having the opportunity to explore and develop my love for gardening really helped with calming the mind. And my boys started primary school, immensely proud, mummy. Is this Sonia Cheng? Is this Sonia with the chickens? Lynn says, great holiday in Thailand and Singapore at the start. Oh, you squeezed it in before the world shut down. Awesome. Sarah says, last month placed the biggest role in my 20-year career. Awesome. Working towards a diploma in gardening. Your first grandchild was born in May. Oh, awesome. Helping with family. Yes, with the chickens. Okie doke. And Julia's saying you made a new friend, a neighbour who previously only waved to. Oh, I have a very good neighbour who accepts all of my deliveries for me, and he doesn't speak any English at all. I think he might be Polish. But yes, he's a wonderful man, and we say hi, and I say, do you have a package? And he says yes. I'd love to get him know more, but I don't know any Polish. Okay, awesome. So hopefully you have taken stock, you've really celebrated all of the wonderful things that have happened in 2020, which is a brilliant place to start because, as I say, despite everything, there is always something to celebrate. So moving on now, what disappointments or regrets did you experience in 2020 and how did you handle them? And this is a big part of this is learning from our mistakes so that we don't miss out on future opportunities. Now, I don't want you to get into any kind of sort of self-condemnation here. And it's important to remember the difference between, I'm a screw up and I screwed up. If we can focus on our performance instead of the definition of sort of who we are, then we can really address making an improvement the next time around because, I think it's really important to recognise that failure isn't final. Failure is just feedback. If we can learn from the past, then we can make sure that we don't repeat it. And I want you to get into a place where you don't deprive yourself of the opportunity to improve. So it's not a definition of yourself that you've been a failure. It's, I didn't get that thing done, and therefore I'm going to learn from that. I'm going to move on. So again, let me know if you're happy to share. I'd love to see some of the things you're coming up with in the chat box. Amina, I've missed your positive thing, which was you launched a holistic lifestyle medicine clinic for pain, fatigue and work health. Awesome. Brooke, you had an accident 3 years ago. You've had lots of acupuncture, physio, meditation, slowing down. And Brooke, probably the whole lockdown helped you with that in terms of not having to be rushing about everywhere and giving you the opportunity to heal and to take that time. So that's just awesome. Did no homeschooling, but I see, but feel less bad about that than I should. Is that I don't know whether that's a positive thing or a negative thing from your year. That's awesome, Zoe. I really, I have to say, I really struggled with the homeschooling, and actually my son has then been off for another 2 weeks. It's just gone back to school, and yesterday actually we've had another 2 weeks of isolating because of an incident at the school. So homeschooling, I don't know how on earth we were supposed to cope with that. It was testing times. I'm really hoping that schools managed to stay open as much as possible. Claudia's saying, didn't focus as much on my development training as I wanted because I've been too busy at work. So Claudia, this is an awesome session for you to really do that, taking stock of where you are, what things didn't quite go so well, and therefore where you want to focus on for 2021. So that might be one of the things that you really want to work out how you can structure your days and your time to be able to focus on those things that you want to do and your development training. Sonia, shutdown of children's event business, cancelling all events for the year. Oh, that's sad. But channeled all my energy into home life, which helped take my mind off it. Decided I will relaunch next year when the time is right. Oh, Sonia, I'd love to know what your business is. I actually set up a couple of years ago a children's party business, which I ended up having to shut down due to personal circumstances. I just couldn't devote the time to it. But yeah, lots of training cancelled, didn't find your niche in retirement. Didn't keep up your French lessons, didn't start on the research of your grandmother's travels, Lynn. But that's okay, right? These are all, you've got, if you're retired, that's absolutely awesome. And congratulations to you. I wish I could retire. But, you've now got a superb opportunity to really work out which of those things is really, really important to you, which means the most to you, and to carve out the time to be able to do those. Sarah saying halfway through lockdown and started to struggle with my fitness and exercise goals. Yes, join the club. So difficult to keep all of those balls in the air. Okay, guys, let's move through. Otherwise, we're going to end up running out of time. So, number 3, what did you accomplish in 2020 that you're most proud of? And this is, it's a little bit like celebrating your successes, celebrating the things that went well, celebrating the things that you're proud of and your wins. It's so important for your confidence. Because if you always have the mindset of, I'm always failing, I'm always losing out, I'm never achieving my goals. If you sort of put those kind of labels on yourself, you'll be less likely to want to take on big goals in the future, because you're just not confident about it, and then you just end up spending your life playing small, right? So let's celebrate some of your awesome accomplishments, and again, let me know in the comments. So creating my 2021 plan, which I hope I'll be verified today. Indeed. So some of to be fair, despite everything, I am so far removed now than my vision for myself as I came into 2020. There's so many things that for me I'm ridiculously proud of through 2020. Firstly, setting up and managing myself as a business. That didn't exist this time last year. So that was something that I set up this year, and helping people and generating revenue from that and receiving great feedback for that's been absolutely awesome. Also in my corporate career, I've turned a business around from a heavily loss-making organization to something which is now sustainable and has a really brilliant future ahead of it. Also, I've literally just completed an acquisition at work. We just bought another business, which was definitely not on the cards at the start of the year. So it's been absolutely ridiculously thrilling year for me, really, really busy, and achieved some really great things. So let me have a look here. What have you all been achieving? Lucy has passed her project management exam and did, the comments are going too fast, and did some playwriting. Awesome. What plays are you writing? That's just something way outside of anything I would ever consider. Hope to see you on the stage. Brooke finished my HR level 5 CIPD diploma. Awesome. During furlough. Successfully closed big project at work. Claudia, brilliant. So that's, these are all similar to me, isn't it? Lynn put on a fabulous wedding for son and daughter-in-law with 2 weeks notice. Good grief. In your garden for 30 plus people as big wedding cancelled. Awarded an MBE. Oh my goodness, Lynn. What an awesome year you've had, and got fitter. Awesome. I've definitely not got fitter. That's definitely on the plans for 2021. Sonia has developed the grounds of the house using your creative flair outdoors, turn it into a home. Growing veg. Also, so proud I could do this with my partner and son. I know it has been so great to spend more time with family, hasn't it? Sarah, apart from keeping the business going, the big role that I placed, I started a garden blog, did 150 days of a plant a day. Oh, that's so awesome. I love hearing about all the, I've gone full screen. I love hearing about all the awesome things that everybody else does. It's just so inspiring, and I hope everybody else is getting some inspiration from all the different things that everybody else has been doing. This is brilliant. Julia, you dusted off your bike after 20 years and you now cycle once a week. Oh, do you know, I had a terrible episode. I decided one day during lockdown, instead of homeschooling the children, I decided we would all cycle up to Milton Country Park, which is basically from my house across parkland to get to the park. And I ended up with a puncture after about 15 minutes, and I decided I'll just ignore the puncture, we'll just carry on. So I cycled with basically on a flat tire all the way there. Such a mistake. It's really hard work cycling on a flat tire. Good stuff. Right, so where have we got to? That's what we're proud of this year. Let's move on to what can you, we've gone too far. Can you distill all of that down into some major life lessons? that you've learned in 2020. Because unless we can learn from our experiences, we can't grow. And you've probably heard the line from the Spanish philosopher George Santayana: those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. So if you have trouble identifying what the key lessons are from the year, then one way to suss them out is to think about maybe the themes that kept coming up for you, and also to ask what might have been missing from your success. Maybe you wish you'd saved more money, or spent more quality time with your partner, or played more with your kids, or read more books. And if you list out those kind of missing ingredients, it's a really effective way to learn what it would take to live your life in a better way, to live your life how you see it being better. And that's only you that can come up with what that looks like. So try to distill your sort of discoveries into short, pithy statements to really transform your learning into wisdom, to really guide your path into 2021 and beyond. Networking and the power this brings. I love that, Zoe. So don't try to overthink this. One of mine, actually, this goes back to earlier comments. One of mine from last year actually was that sleep is the answer. Sleep is the answer to everything. Another one I came up with a couple of years ago was don't overthink the outcome, just do the next right thing. And I think I'm very much prone to overthinking, and I get myself bogged down into a state of not being able to move because I can't think what's the ultimate outcome. So rather than focusing on the ultimate, just do the next right thing. Okay, Zara is saying to take time for spirituality and mindfulness. It's now part of my daily self-care and I feel mentally grounded. That's brilliant, Zara, well done. Sonia, focusing on my mindset and seeing the positives in everything, even if they're small. Stop feeling helpless and letting negatives control my life. Lucy, managing expectations to things you can't control. I think that's such a good point, Lucy. And I was listening to somebody the other day talking about our circle of actually, I think I've got it here. Your circle of concern, which is, this pandemic is a brilliant example of your circle of concern and all those things that are going on in the world that you have no influence over. And then the tiny bit, which is your circle of influence. And, you can only control those things within your circle of influence. And all of this other stuff that's going on around is, it's kind of by the by, and we shouldn't be letting ourselves get bogged down by it or anxious about stuff, because it's beyond our control. And so if we can just really focus in on those things over which we have agency, which is ourselves and and our immediate environment, then that's what's really going to allow us to take control of our lives and to drive ourselves forwards. So there's lots of kind of mindfulness things in here, and resting and sleeping. Definitely overthink. I like the idea of focusing on the next step. Yes, Emma. Practicing gratitude. Yeah, we are definitely all aligned, ladies. These are all really, really similar. Excellent. Right, where are we time wise? So let us now get into the sort of the life audit, because progress starts. Whoops, I clicked again. Progress starts only when you get clear on where you are right now. So if we're clear on where we are right now, then we can take stock and we can move forwards. And we're going to have a look at 8 different areas of our lives. which is physical, emotional, career, money, love life, relationships with our children, our other friendships, and what we're doing with our free time. Because so many of these areas are intermingled. So to live a fulfilled and happy and well-balanced life, we really need to consider how we're doing in each of these domains, because addressing one in isolation, you still end up out of balance, right? So this is really going to help you to focus your mind on where you're doing well, where you're not doing quite so well, and where you want to focus your energy for 2021 to move you forwards. So what I want you to do is in your workbook, for each of these what I'm calling life domains, if you tick the number from 1 to 10 that best describes how you feel about each part of your life right now, and then explain why you feel that way. And we may not have very much time to do the why, and you can come back to that and fill that in later. So I've listed the areas here for those of you that might not have the workbook in front of you, just as an aid. And it's important to say, don't overthink this. Often your gut feeling is the right one. And also remember, it's totally subjective. And I'm not going to ask you to disclose your scores. This is totally for you to be honest with yourself. As you know, it's like a line in the sand, as at today, of how you feel about your life right now. So if it helps, I'll go through some examples in each of the areas of, what a 1 might look like, a score of 1, and what a score of 10 might look like. I'm just going to adjust this camera. So with physical health, a score of 1 might look like this. My sleep is inconsistent and I usually feel tired. I don't think about nutrition. In fact, my diet would scare my doctor. I don't move my body much and I'm starting to experience health scares as a result of my poor physical condition. And a 10 might look like, my sleep routine is optimized for peak performance. I'm intentional about my nutrition and eat a balanced diet. I regularly exercise and experience extra energy and strength as a result. And my doctor says I'm the picture of health. Doesn't that sound awesome? I wonder if there's anyone in the world that is actually there. There must be some people, personal trainers maybe. Okay, emotional health, a 1 might look like, I'm often stressed and prone to avoidant behaviours. I struggle with sadness, low energy and worry. I often find myself feeling irritated and resentful. The world just feels like too much sometimes. And a 10, I'm capable of handling my stress that comes my way. I'm always confident and optimistic about the future. I face a life with a sense of gratitude and joy, and I empathise with others' struggles and shortcomings. So tick yourself on these scales. Your work, a 1 might look like, I hate my job. I wish I could find something else to do. I dread going to work and I live for the weekends. I feel like I'm going backwards in my career and I'm not happy with my level of income. And a 10 might be, I love my work and I'm confident I'm making a big impact in the world. I'm at the top of my game and I'm the recognised leader in my industry. I'm growing faster than I ever thought possible and I find the pace exhilarating. I'm making more money than I need and I love having the margin to invest in the future and in worthy causes. I can see additional people are just joining. We're right in the middle of doing a bit of our life audit. So we're scoring ourselves 1 to 10 for each of these areas of our lives. And so money, a 1 might look like, I worry constantly about my finances and I'm fearful about the future. I do not make enough money to cover my basic needs. I'm really not saving anything for retirement or for anything else. I'm deeply in debt and I don't currently see a way out. And a 10 might look like, I really think about my finances because I have all the bases covered. I make more than enough money for my needs and I am able to give generously to causes that matter. I don't have any debt, not even a mortgage. My net worth is more than I could have imagined a few years ago and I feel it will continue to grow. And your love life. Thinking about my relationship with my partner makes me sad or depressed. I'm beyond frustrated with my partner and I don't understand why they can't or won't change. We experience a lot of conflict and continue to drift further and further apart. Or maybe you'd love to be in a relationship, but you're not right now and that makes you sad. And a 10 on love life might look like: thinking about our relationship fills me with gratitude and joy. We love each other's company and talk about everything. I can't imagine a kinder, safer person than my partner. We actively encourage and support each other. We experience little conflict and are quick to resolve it in a way that leads to greater intimacy. Or maybe you're single and you're very much happy that way. Relationship with your children, for those of you who have the little beggars. Number 1, having kids, what was I thinking? I don't feel prepared to be a parent. I rarely enjoy it. Honestly, my children are a major source of conflict and stress. I just don't think I'm up for it. And a 10 might look like: I love being a parent and I know it's my most important work. I love my children and enjoy spending time with them. My children feel comfortable sharing their deepest desires and their greatest fears. When we experience conflict, we resolve it in a way that restores trust and connection. Friendships. A 1 on friendships might be: I'm lonely and I have no close friends. Most of my friendships are at work or through social media. I used to have real friends, but we've either lost track of each other or we don't hang out because of unresolved conflict. And 10 might be: I have a really close circle of great friends who accept me for who I am. I can't wait to spend time with my friends and we connect regularly. These relationships are one of my greatest sources of joy. When we experience conflict, we resolve it in a healthy way. And free time, I have no 1 might look like: I have no time for interests outside work and family. I don't have any hobbies and I'm not really involved in any spiritual or philanthropic activities. My life consists of work and family. That's pretty much it. And 10 might look like: I have ample time to pursue interests beyond work and family. I have a few life-giving hobbies that I pursue with great friends, and I'm significantly involved in a charity, a school, or church, using my time and talent to make a difference in the world. So hopefully those sort of descriptions were helpful to you and you've scored yourself on a 1 to 10. So once you've worked out where you are now, the next stage is to really think about where you want to be going. And what you can do is to revisit yourself on the scale of 1 to 10 on each of those and work out where you'd ultimately like to get to. Now, not necessarily within the next few months, but just if you were living your best life, where would your scores be? And this will show you the gap between where you are now and where you ultimately want to get to. Now, it may be that you have a low score in one particular area. Actually, your ultimate aim is also a low score because it's just not something that's important to you in your life right now, in your current season of life. So don't feel like you have to be aiming for a 10 out of 10 in every single area. And this exercise will really help you to work out where you want to focus in 2021, because it gives you the structure to be able to see, actually, it's these couple of areas in my life that I really would like to be improving on. So hopefully you're seeing that, and let me know if you can, what couple of areas you've identified that you might like to be working on in 2021. And what you can do, I've moved on the slide, but what you can do is on that page of your workbook, I think it's page 5, you can put in which areas of your life you really want to focus on, and you can have a think about what ultimate goal you'd like to get to, or what habit you can develop. I like to think of goals in terms of habits, and because instead of saying, for example, Lily's saying physical health. So one area of physical health that people like to focus on, and I'm sure that many of us have made New Year's resolutions in the past to lose weight, but instead of having a goal that is to lose X number of pounds or to lose weight, I feel that it's easier to track progress and to keep yourself on course if you're setting a habit. So if it's you want to have 3 vegetables a day habit, or you want to exercise for 20 minutes a day for 5 days a week. So think about what those kind of habits are that you could build within each of those life areas that would bring you closer to your ultimate goal in that area. And don't forget the SMART framework. We don't have time to go through it today, but I think we're probably all familiar with a SMART goal and what that looks like, and making sure that it's really, really specific. And one thing also for that I like to build into a SMART goal, which doesn't fit into that acronym, is exciting. And if you're not excited about it, if you're not engaged with that particular goal, then you're less likely to go ahead and achieve it. So I'm just going to have a run through. Thanks, Lily, for keeping up in the comments now. I've tried to race through. We're just going to have a quick look at why so many people end up failing on their goals. And the first reason is because we're not motivated enough to attain them. So without a compelling reason to really persist, we end up losing interest or getting distracted or forgetting what we set out to do. So to combat this, what you really need to do is to identify with the why behind the goals that you're setting. So like, what difference is it going to make to your life? Will it make you less stressed or more fulfilled, or provide a stimulating intellectual or physical challenge? Will it make you feel empowered, or maybe it just makes you feel safe? So you have a go later on when you've got a bit more time to fill out on page 5 the end of the sentence: when I reach this goal, I will feel. And really connect with how you're going to feel and why it's important to you. What's the pain that you're moving away from, and what's the pleasure that you're moving towards? Number 2, the second reason why people often don't achieve their goals, because it just feels too big, too overwhelming. It's like a mountain to climb, and it's hard to make progress when you can't see the full path to the top of the mountain. But if you put one foot in front of the other and you just make the next right step day after day, you're going to make progress and you're going to get there. So you really need to break it down to just think of the first step that you can take. And we talked about this earlier. And this should really be a totally no-brainer step. So if you wanted to take up the Couch to 5K challenge, for example, maybe the first step is to buy a decent pair of trainers or to download the training plan app. So it's a question of building up your habits slowly, day by day and week by week. So when you've got a bit more time, you have a sentence to complete, which is my first step is. So what is your first step that you're going to take to move you closer to the goals that you want to achieve? And the third reason is that we get lost along the way. We lose sight of why we're shooting for this goal. We realize that making a change is hard, and we have maybe no support system in place to help us see it through. And we succumb to what's called the law of diminishing intent. And this is a concept that comes from Jim Rohn, who noticed that the longer that you wait before taking action, the more likely you are to lose the intention, lose the momentum, and you will never actually get into motion at all. So you really need a sort of a fail-safe plan that gets you into action. And that might be working with an accountability partner to keep you on track, for example, asking a friend to do the Couch to 5K with you, because we're so much better at not letting other people down than we are at not letting ourselves down. Or maybe your goal is to stop work at 5 o'clock every night, to be fully present with your family all evening. So you might set an alarm for yourself to let you know that that's the time at which you want to shut everything down. So a lot of goal achievement is about creating new habits and building small, incremental, but utterly consistent actions taken over a period of time. Okie dokie. So finally, I want to just say, believe in the possibility and believe in yourself, because ultimately it's your mind that stands in between you and your goals and dreams. Your thoughts are leading to your feelings, and your feelings are leading to driving your behaviours. So in order to live the life that you want to live and to be the person that you want to be, you really need to do the things that that person would be doing. And in order to do the things that that person would be doing, you need to be feeling the emotions of that future version of you, and therefore thinking the thoughts of that woman. So don't let your current limiting beliefs hold you back, is really what I'm saying, because you are capable. Don't defer your dreams, don't delay your goals, don't procrastinate on the one thing that you need to do today to make progress in your personal and professional life. And hopefully today it's helped you to find a little bit of clarity about where that is and what is the progress that you want to make. So I want to encourage you to really take action today and don't succumb to this law of diminishing intent. So I hope you found this session really, really helpful. And thank you so much for engaging in the comments. It's been brilliant seeing all of your comments. I'm going to catch up at the end of this session. I know we've covered a lot of ground and we've cantered through quite quickly. So please do make sure that you take extra time later on today or over the weekend to go back over what we've covered and to consolidate your thoughts. And if you want more of me, the best place to find me is over in my Facebook free group called the Work-Life Success Community. I'd love to welcome you all there. Loads of resources on my website as well, which is managingmyself.me. So if you don't want to miss out on anything, then get yourself over there and get yourself on my email list. And I'll make sure that you get all of the goodness that I'm busy creating behind the scenes. So I'm going to hand back now to Julia to close us off for the rest of the session.
I know I'd said there was time for question and answers, but I took the executive hosting decision that this was so interactive that it was better to stay in the session than to break it for questions. But as you've got Laura's contact details, please do reach out to her if there's, and please do your homework as well. I am conscious that we do need to finish on time to let you all back to your 1 o'clock Zoom meetings. So I just want to take, again to say thank you so much, Laura. That was great food for thought, and a lot of ways that we can use these tools to improve, to make sure 2021 is much better than 2020. So on the screen now, you can see some of the upcoming events that the Rising Network has planned. Again, ranging from very practical tools and advice through to some mentoring circles. So do make a note of these. Do visit the risingnetwork.com for more details about them and how to book into these sessions. They're very worthwhile attending. And you may or may not be aware that there's also a Rising Network Facebook group, which is great support between these sessions and often gives you a boost throughout the day. In the Rising Network Facebook group, we feature 3 chapter leads or members each month, and they post lovely, insightful posts and act as a platform to get the conversation going between members. And in December, we've got Joe Stansfield, Lynn Yu, and Victoria Anderson who are leading the conversation. So do check out the Facebook page, and it's great for all members. Finally, just to say a huge thank you. Thank you to all of you for participating so fully in the session. Thank you again to Laura Taylor. We would really appreciate it if you could, you'll get a feedback form after this session. Please do fill it in and send it back, because it really does help us improve and shape the events to your needs, and it'll only take you a couple of minutes. But also, please also do check out the risingnetwork.com to join the network. This joining the network offers you access to the Cambridge and London events, as well as online webinars. So it's well worth a look. Check out the website. And then just finally to say thank you so much again to all of you, to Lily and to Laura for being such great participants today, and to all of you for being so honest and frank with your answers, which really gave huge value to the session. So thank you so much and see you all soon.